What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to another ADSR production concept stream. My name is Techo. Thank you for joining me on this Friday morning. Friday morning for me, maybe Friday afternoon for you, maybe evening, who knows. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us today. We are here every single Friday talking about different production concepts. Anything that has to do with production, whether that's arranging, has to do with some more musical techniques like today with creating melodies. That's what we get into here on Friday. Something to just level up your skills into the weekend and beyond so that you can take your production to the next level. Hello, my friends. And William C asks, are you still at the cabin or back home? We're still in the cabin. The cabin is permanent. The cabin is home now. But yes, thank you all for joining. Hello to everybody in the chat. Drunk Bishop, Marcos, William C. Beckham, Drunk Bishop. I already said that. My dad's in the chat. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Kyle Gray Young, what's up? It's going well, Kyle. Thank you for asking. I'm excited to be here. Back in the swing of the stream thing, because I was away for a little while, but yeah. Keep an eye out because, you know, I'm here on Fridays, but I'm also here on Wednesdays for the production challenge. And if you're not in the ADSR Discord, you definitely should be. I don't know why you wouldn't be. Join that cool community. We give away prizes every Wednesday. We do a different production challenge every Wednesday. We're doing like a villain theme this week. And you can go check out a previous live stream if you want to see what that's all about. But yeah, Drunk Bishop says, coffee gang, indeed. As much as possible. For this early morning stream. The summer sale, I believe, is almost over at ADSR. So make sure you take advantage of this summer sale. If you want to get a course or some sounds or presets, samples, whatever it may be, don't forget to check that out over on the ADSR store. Today, of course, as the title says, we're talking about writing and riffing melodies. I've got my keyboard here, which I'll be using today to sort of demo. And then we will be using Ableton Live today. As usual, if you all have questions or comments, stuff as we go, please let me know in the chat. And if you're watching this later, leave a comment. Let us know you're watching it post-stream. We know some people are in different time zones and can't necessarily make the stream. But nonetheless, let's kill that background music. And let's start building a track here. So before we get to the actual melody part, I'll just either build or find a super simple sample because we do want to focus on the melody writing today, but I'll show you how it fits into the context of a beat. Sometimes you may start with a melody, like you may have just a melody in your head, but what I want to do today is actually just build up a simple backbeat and maybe chord progression so that we have something to build on top of, and then I can explain more techniques there. Let me go to my sample packs folder and see if we've got some cool loops or something. I'm not sure. Not sure yet what type of beat I want to go for today. But I do want to start with a couple loops just to get us going. Here is what I'm looking for. Cool. I'm gonna find something that's a little more basic in terms of its harmony so that we can approach a melody a little more simply. Oh, these are so nice. These are from the Identity Records, Lo-Fi Soul Instrumental. Maybe something in C. That's pretty good. Yeah, that works. Let's use that as our basis today. And that's in the key of C, which makes it nice and easy for us. So I'm going to throw this loop onto an audio track. That is originally at 100 BPM. So let's go ahead and adjust our DAW tempo. I'll keep that tempo. I just want to make sure this warps properly. Now this kind of has like a top line in it, actually. That's what I just thought of. But what if I bring this down an octave? Make it more part of the background. And I'm going to warp it with complex mode instead of beats. Yeah, that's fine. That's a good jumping off point. Let's find a couple quick drums to go with this and see what we get. Those are not drums. These are drums. Oof, that could work. Let's see how it fits. Oh no, I don't want that speed. That's a little too fast. Let's find something else. How's this go? Let's times that by 2. I kind of like that actually. Let me just pull down. All right. Little smooth jams this Friday morning. Why not? Okay, I'm gonna use a couple serum patches today. Let's see what we can come up with. Quick question to the room and Tay. Is it cheating if you use Melodyne or other software and transfer it to MIDI chords to make the melody into music versus playing? There's no such thing as cheating. There's not a thing that you could put other than, is it cheating if I take somebody else's song and I put my name on it? That would be like the only thing I would say. Maybe that's cheating, but yeah, just stay out of the conversation about like don't even entertain the thought of like cheating or something. That is like a amateur level like argument that happens on forums and happens like in YouTube comments that you don't even need to associate yourself with. People who spend their time a lot of people argue about it. People who spend their time like putting down others for their techniques, saying it's cheating. Those people don't matter. They're not spending time making music. So whatever method you can use, nobody in a professional studio, nobody that has a song on the radio, nobody that you look up to is spending any time thinking about what's cheating. Oh, Common Beats is here. I really like this piano. I think one thing that I'm going to do though is make a little reduced version of this piano so it doesn't have the melody on top. Because I guess this is a good time to think about, as I load up this piano, what is a melody? What does melody mean to you all? You can let me know maybe your elevator pitch definition of a melody in the chat. A melody, to me, is the thing that is front and center, the thing that is on top, the thing that the listener is supposed to hear. Usually it's like a single line. And there might be chords behind it. So everything I played there with my right hand would be considered the melody, and then I'm just kind of implying some chords with my left hand. Think of it, it's the singer in the band, it's the guitar solo. And there's different types of melodies, you know, sometimes there's just like repeating riffs and stuff in the background, that's sort of melodic, but the thing that's going front and center calls attention to itself, it's sort of the focus point. To me, that's the sort of melody that I'm thinking about today. So when we listen back to this loop, and actually let me just go ahead and transpose it back up. Dun, 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 dun. If you had to sing along with this, you could probably do it very easily. Bum, 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 bum. So let's work this out. That's basically the melody there, right? So even though this loop contains chords, solid chords, it's got a top line melody that you should train your ears to start listening for these different parts. We've got something a little bit lower that's like probably a 7th chord. Or maybe that's the first chord there. And then on top we have that is our melody. Listen back to this loop and try to just isolate that top line. What's up, Superman? Glad you could catch the stream as well. Oh, Enigmatic Onion is here? Oh, hello. Dun, dun, dun. So just start separating those parts from chords. And then with that top line. So Marco says, the problem, William, is something so new, but with dissonant sounds that brings angry, annoying. Okay, what are we saying? Are not good or exaggerated something. The rest? Do your beat. Oh yeah. Well, let's talk about what makes some of these notes fit, right? And let me mute that loop for now. And what I'm gonna do is actually just lay down a similar chord progression. I don't know what it exactly is. Let me play that here. Yeah, let me just lay down a basic chord progression to play on top of, and then we'll get into like how do we make this a melody sound good on top of this. Just very, very basic, and I'm gonna fill in the gap here with a couple bass notes. I played a very simple chord progression. We're playing in the key of C. We'll talk about key in a moment after I add in some bass notes. So we have that C, we have F. I'm just gonna add an A in here to back this one up. Unfold. Go down. Oh, it's so hard when it's not folded. Bigger. A. And then we'll play a G down here. Have that coming on 1. I'll just quantize this. All right, so now we have a very basic chord progression. And like I said, I'm in the key of C. If you're not super familiar with keys and scales, and you're working with a loop, or at least if you don't even know your starting point, you should at least decide what key am I going to play in. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, then we have some foundational work to do. But if you have a general idea and you can look at your loop and say, okay, it's in the key of C, it's labeled key of C, and hopefully it's labeled correctly, which this one is. If it's the key of C, we are locked into a set of notes, the notes of C major. And since it doesn't say C minor, we're going to assume it's C major. So the notes that we have available to us in that key are as follows: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and explain the whole formula behind a major scale. We have a great course on the ADSR store where you can get started making music stuff, and I really explain the structure of a major scale. But let's say you didn't know anything, you just knew that your starting loop was in a certain key. All you got to do is Google the notes in that major key. So if you were in F, you'd start with an F major scale. But we're in C, so we're going to do C major. So now that we have something playing in the background, it's time to experiment. And you can do this little by little. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch to session view for this demo today, because we're going to iterate a bunch of different melodies, some melodies that add different levels of complexity here. So I've just got my piano loop, drum loop. Let's actually make sure this is all looping. Yep. Okay, we're good. Loop and loop. Okay, and the only thing I'm gonna do here is get a melody instrument to play on top. Oh, that's not the default Serum preset. Yeah, that's fine. Now, let's not make things too complicated. This is playing in the background. We know we are limiting ourselves to a selection of notes. So because we know it's C major, this is actually really easy because we know that all these black notes are eliminated, so we don't have to think too hard. Let's play with the chordal rhythm. And what I mean by that is listen to the chords. Every time the chord changes, and let's tighten up that drum loop because it's like kind of sus for a second there. Every time the chord changes, let me just show it to you on the screen. The chords change every 4 beats, right? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So for our melody, let's pick 4 notes to play and just play in time with those chords. We'll change every 4 beats. Let's pick a starting note at random. I'm going to pick D. Even though we're in the key of C, I'm picking the note D. And we're going to go ahead and record this melody, 4-note melody. Hold it for 4 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Super simple. This is the beginning of a melody for sure. And certain notes that you play will sound better than others. So you might say that D sounded good at the end, but it didn't sound too good at the beginning. So we played D, G, E, D. Let's instead start on C. If we're in the key of C, why not go ahead and start with C? Let's try that melody again. Not so bad. It's very, very basic. And now suddenly we're starting to build on our track. Now I'm actually going to find a sound here that has a little bit less slow attack. That's a little more like a keyboard. Yeah, that's fine. I like that. It's not quantized or anything, but let's just get it quantized quick. So look at this melody. It's very basic, right? How do we make this more complex? This is kind of our starting situation. The more fluent you are in your scales, the easier it is to come up with a melody. And now my hand has a position to be in. So you don't need to be like a crazy keyboard player to do this. But now this is a little bit boring. This is like the most basic version. We're just playing with the chords. Let's add more rhythm to it. So we see our C, we go to G, right? Let's just add a note in between there. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna erase the old melody and let's record this in now. We're gonna keep that same basic melody, but now we're gonna add notes in between and then let's examine it. So give it a little record and let's play. Oh yeah, I'm playing a better version of the melody. All right, let's take a look at this. So like, I'm not doing anything, I'm not breaking my brain. I'm just kind of like hearing a melody in my head and hearing a rhythm in my head and going with it. And you notice my hand stayed still the whole time. Like I'm just playing the notes that are kind of adjacent. And that is one of the keys here. You notice in this melody, in between our basic notes, C and G, I put a D in there. And what's going to be actually very helpful for you is if you play some notes that are adjacent. You don't want to make giant leaps all the time. This leap sounded pretty good, but connecting those dots, we're going to be better off playing notes that are close to each other, neighbor notes. Same thing here. We go from E, F, E to D. These are all right next to each other. If I fold this, you'll be able to see that even better. right. So you see that the rate changed here. So we go from having a note every 4 beats, and then when we play this note, which is a quarter note, it only lasts 1/4 of a bar. You know, it lasts 1 beat. And then we change the rate here. These are eighth notes. We see that we divided this beat into 2. So varying your rate, playing adjacent notes, all ways to spice up your melody. And again, the more familiar and the more comfortable you are playing on the instrument you're coming up with the melody, then the better melodies you'll be able to come up with. The more familiar you are with the scale, the more familiar you are with the instrument, then you'll be able to come up with really good melodies. I want a better lead sound. Actually, since like that other track had, or the original loop we started with had piano on it, let me just layer in some piano, like a top line piano. And let's use some RC20. Ezekiel, thank you so much for your contribution to the chat. Really helpful. Thank you. Let's make this real lo-fi right now with some RC20. Get this on here. I'll put it on the chords first. Yeah, that's fine. But let's get a more of a VHS situation. Easy. Oh, it's playing in the other track. That's why. Cool. All right, we got that RC20, and I'll also put it on this piano track as well. Let's actually just delete all that. And now let's make this match a little bit better with that instrument. Using that same concept, I'm just going to riff a bunch of different melodies on top of this. First melody, here we go. 2, 3, 4. Direction. Let's talk about direction on this one. Which way is the melody going? The melody's going down. It's a downward direction. If I unfold this, it'll be easier to see the descent. So even though we have this initial leap, you can see that generally the melody is moving down. So if I'm coming up with melodies and I'm really just trying to riff a bunch of melodies, I'm trying to come up with contrasting ideas. So can I now come up with an ascending melody? Meaning we're going to go up. All right, now that one I played for a bit longer. I played for a full 8 bars, and let's take a look at that melody. Why did I push that button? Cool. Let me bring this up so you can all see it above my head. So we begin, again, contrasting ideas. We begin opening with a very clear ascending line. And then what starts to happen? We start descending. And you notice it doesn't really happen arbitrarily. It happens in 4-bar increments. So in the first 4 bars, we are playing, for the most part, an ascending melody. Oh, hey, what's up, Shane? And then for the second 4 bars, we are playing a descending melody. So that's no coincidence. There's no such thing as a coincidence, some would say. But we're just going through that cycle, and it makes sense. Now, one thing you want to avoid, a lot of like soloists, if you're coming up with a melody, one thing you want to break is the constant, like, we're going up, and now we're going down. And you just do that for the whole solo and the whole melody. So definitely be sort of conscious of your direction, and that you're not just doing this, going up and down. But do think about the direction of your melody. Are you ascending or are you descending? And think about the cycle that you do it in when you're coming up with different melodies. Don't be afraid to repeat notes either. Let's actually experiment here a little bit. And let's try to only play 3 notes in the melody. Let me stop this. I'm only going to play 3 notes for this melody. So obviously I'm going to vary the rhythm a little bit here, but let's just see what I can do. Actually, let's do 2 notes. 2 notes and then 3. Okay, now let's add 3 notes. Like, these are all limitations you can put on yourself. If you're having trouble coming up with melodies, say, okay, I'm going to start with only 2 notes. Now I'm going to add 3. Let's do 3. Now I'm going to add 4. Do a 4-note melody. 3, 4. Let's do a 5-note melody. That one. That's what I want. We'll do these 5 notes. 3, 4, 5. Limiting myself to those 5. Let's go for a 6th note melody. I'll do F. Sorry, I wasn't ready. I didn't decide. F is the new note. All right, let's just examine what we have there. So try this. Remember, we're limiting ourselves already. We're starting in a scale. That in itself is a limitation. Something in my eye. And when we do that, we limit ourselves to a selection of notes. That gives us 7 notes to choose from. 7 notes in a major scale. 8 with the octave of the root. But when you go back and you limit yourself, you say, I'm only going to use 2 notes. I'm only going to use 3 notes. It influences the way you play. So this being our descending melody. This being our ascending, then descending melody. And now we've limited ourselves to some notes, and let's examine this. Again, we're doing more interesting things rhythmically, adding in these 8th notes and then also not coming in directly on the bar. And am I thinking about this while I'm writing the melody? No, I'm just kind of playing what comes out. 3-note melody. So we had this little interval to play with. This is like a little repeated figure, but it's a little bit different. That D to C descending thing is a little bit thematic here. And then it happens again here. Dum, dum. It's like if you're explaining something to somebody. You say something kind of fast, and then they say, oh, can you say that again but slower? Sometimes that's what writing a melody is like. And this is the same phrase, just said a little bit slower. Am I thinking of that while I'm writing it? Not really, but I think that's just because you build up habits and you build up ways of writing that sort of make sense in that way. These are basically the same phrases for the first 2 halves. They're just changed up rhythmically. Okay, let's go to is this our 4-note melody? So I guess this is the antithesis of what I just said. This is saying the phrase slowly, and then, oh, I'm going to repeat it again, but I'm just going to tell you really fast so you don't forget. And this rhythmic interest here is interesting because we go from basically playing almost a whole note, very long tones, to all of a sudden we switch up to eighth notes. So we suddenly switch up the rate, then we slow back down. But you notice how limiting our note selection influences our melody for sure. Oh yes, Drunk Bishop, hope you are safe with all the hurricane stuff going on. Very clear descending melody here. So what does this look like in process? If you look at your track and you say, wow, why are my melodies like so boring, or why do my melodies all sound the same? Are they all descending? Are they all like the same rate the whole time? Do you need to switch it up rhythmically? These are all things you should ask yourself. And let's end here at the sixth note. And now let's go ahead and listen back to the original loop and see if I can actually examine a melody that I myself did not write. And let's see if we can sort of dissect it. Let me turn this back on. I'm going to put RC20 on there because why not? So to do this, I've, done some ear training, so that's it, right? Yeah, all right, that's simple. Let's record that melody. Hold on, let me do it so you can see the notes. There we go. Just repeats. Yeah, it just repeats and puts an octave on it. Okay. Let me go ahead and close that in. It's really just a 4-bar melody. Look at it, folks. You're all super smart music people. We learned how to describe this melody just now. What would you call that melody? Your first instinct. How would you describe it? This is important. I know some of these concepts like becomes a little bit academic or whatever, but if you have the terms and the vocabulary to describe the stuff you're working on, even just to yourself, you can articulate what you want to change about your melody. Descending, class goes as minor pentatonic. We're not there. We're not identifying a scale. But yes, descending, of course. You can all see that, right? It is going down. Generally. Do we have some leaps back up? Yes, but the general direction, maybe some of you, your stocks look like this. Hopefully not. It's going down. Let's go ahead and look at the rhythm now. So we know the direction. What about the rhythm? And let's divide the bar into 2. What do you notice between bars 2, the first 2 bars and the last 2 bars? How do I highlight? How did I just do that? Like this? Oh, cool. The first 2 bars versus the second 2 bars. You should notice one major similarity. We have the same exact rhythmic figure. Dun, 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 dun. And then again. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, that's so funny because it's still playing. So the second half of the phrase, yes, is the same exact rhythmic figure, just played on different notes. Maybe you don't notice that listening to it. Maybe you're not thinking like, oh my God, this melody is just the same thing over and over again. No, because it's descending. The other thing I want to put notice to a little bit is the first half of the melody is this. So it lands on this. That's how it ends. And then the second phrase starts on the same note. It starts on E again. I think when we write melodies, a lot of the time, we are constantly trying to change notes. Like, I just try to come up with a second phrase that doesn't start on E because I think my habits push me to constantly be changing notes, but you don't have to constantly be changing notes to come up with a good melody. So this is a good example of that. It repeats that note to start that second phrase, and it sounds pretty good. Just realized I've always descended rather than ascend, a learning point for me. I'm so glad. Oh, 안녕하세요. I'm sorry I can't read that. If Joseph is in the chat, he can translate for me. I'll try. No, I won't. It's not a watch me read Korean stream. King Ha Sha Yu. I don't know. Maybe that was right. I don't know what that means. I guess I shouldn't read things if I don't know what they say. Oh, 안녕하세요. Sometimes I read words that I know and I don't know how to properly pronounce them. All right, this says change to a language stream. 감사합니다. Oh, we have more Korean in the chat. More people from Korea. Great. All right, so hopefully that is a learning point for you. The basic ascending, descending, the way you articulate your rhythmic function. You can repeat rhythmic themes on different notes and get a very catchy melody here. A lot of great melodies are built on repetition because it gets stuck in your ear, you know? There are some tools in Live here to help you actually generate more melodies. And for this, I'm going to go ahead and mute that loop again and play just my background chords for now. So we have that, our basic melody. Let me highlight all the notes. And there are these little buttons over here, reverse, invert. Let's reverse this melody. I don't know what this will sound like. So Common Beats, maybe this is a helpful technique for you if you say you're always descending, or whichever one it was. Maybe I flipped it. Because I want to keep the original one, by the way. You just go ahead and click reverse on a descending melody, and now you have an ascending melody. And it actually doesn't sound bad at all. The only thing I'll change is the way these notes are held out so they don't abruptly shift down. Not so bad. Now we have generated a new melody and we didn't have to do any work. The next part, let me take this melody again. Oh my God, I have too many clips. All right, I want to take this and duplicate it. We also have invert, which watch what this does. Watching? We're basically flipping it. The problem here is that it won't be in key. So one thing we could try is just taking those auto key notes and bumping them up to in key notes. I don't know how good it will sound. This one is a little trickier. Oh, that note's not in key. So this is actually a very good point to show these are not in key anymore. So all these notes are in key now, I think. Did I not? And even though they are all in key, they don't sound very good at all. And let's maybe dig into why. Why don't they sound good? And let's start with this first bar. What notes do we have? A, B, D, and E. That first phrase just doesn't sound great. And a lot of it comes down to this starting note. And if I wasn't just using my ears, how would I know that that's probably a bad starting note? Let's look at the chords. If we look at the chords, the first chord is comprised of C, E, G, and B. So playing an A on top of that, it doesn't sound so bad, actually. Let me listen back to this. That doesn't sound so bad. Yeah, I think it comes down to that phrase. Yeah, there we go. And the reason for that is it's just clashing with these notes because we don't want to hammer too hard on this 7. And then we land back on the D, which is clashing with this F. And if you are just starting out, I do recommend you take a hard look at your chord progressions and the harmonic content of your track, because the easiest way to come up with a pretty decent melody is to limit yourself to, we just talked about limiting ourselves to the number of notes, and with a scale, limiting ourselves to the type of notes, which notes fit in the scale. Now let's hone that and take a look at this chord progression. So maybe it's going to sound good if we only play over this C7 chord. We see the notes right there, C, E, G, B. Maybe we only play, C, E, G, or B, and we fit that as part of the phrase. Let's experiment with that. That wasn't in the chord. See, that works pretty well. And that's why in the melody in the actual piano, that B sounds really good on top because, what do you know? We have a B, which is the 7 of that chord. We then land on a G, which is actually not in F. But then we end up landing on that E, which again is the top note of this chord. So you're seeing like kind of a pattern there. Hello, Raheem. Not bad, not bad. And then there's like a whole level of functional harmony, which we're not going to get into today, like why certain notes lead to certain notes. Like why does this have, if I put this here, why does this have so much tension? Because it wants to resolve. I know I said let's not get into this, but sure. If I play a C chord and I play a B on top, it's beautiful tension, but it's still tension and it wants to resolve. Why? Because it's right next to C. That's our leading tone. Relief. And that's what music is always about. Tension and release. Tension, release. It's physics, really. It's how frequencies interact with each other. Were those melodic tips helpful? Please let me know in the chat. I think I want to make some music now. And I want to start from scratch. Let's start with a new vibe for our last, 15 here. Let me see if I can come up with a pretty cool using those techniques, let me see if we can come up with a basic beat here. That loop was actually really helpful that we could go ahead and examine the melody that was already in it. All right, let's go ahead and take a break from melody and let's build up some drums really quick here. We're playing from arrangement view now. And let's grab some samples from my sample packs. Here we go. I guess kick. Oh, I'm definitely down to start with some. Let's start here as a starting point for our groove 4-bar loop. Okay, we good with that? All right, and let's find another piano preset here. Like a jazz recording. Oh, jazz. Oh, Japanese studio. Oh, I want jazz recording. Yeah, let's just get something going like that. All right, let's play some chords and let's just get the first thing that comes out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, what happened? Too low. Why did I do that? Here we go. 3, 4. Fine, easy. We're gonna speed run this today. William C. Beckett says, I want to donate to your Patreon or pay you for answering both of my questions, as you're always helpful and attentive, kind with your words. I appreciate that, William C. Beckham. I have my own channel. If you want to become a member of that channel, that's the best way to support. I really appreciate that. Other people in the chat are members of the channel. All right, this is decent. Let's get some backbeat going though. All right, I'm looking at these packs. What is this? Does this After Dark have only synths? Oh, we've got drums. I think it's more like trap, but let's see. They're kind of dark. Oh, that's not bad though. Let's use that. After Dark, a little this. Okay, that's kick. What kind of snares? These might be too intense. Oh, that was actually not bad. I like that has like weird water on it. I don't know if I'm prepared to use that, but why not? Sure, we'll use a little perk here. Or the other ways can support William C. Beckham. Go pick something up from the ADSR store today too. That is also a way to show some support. Let me go ahead and drop this backbeat. The snare is so crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's kind of dope. How often do you hear a snare like that? Oh, I liked that, what I just had. That little mystical sound in there. Let's keep going with this kick pattern. Now I want dodum. All right, all right. Let me do one more kick in here. And you know what we don't have in this track yet? Is a melody. So let's get a melody on top. Well, actually, before we do a melody, let's do a very simple bass line just to get a little rock bottom bass here. A bass you'll use. Perfect. Throw that in on simpler. The swing drum sound. Yeah, placing stuff on the grid. That's another reason. Like, placing stuff on the grid can get you really rigid, but also if you're a little messy with it, you can get a little bit of a swung sound. And also using a perk loop that's a little more natural is helpful too. All right, let's get it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it. Easy. Too easy, chat. Just a little bouncy, kind of lo-fi beat for your Friday morning. I mean, you notice like some of the techniques we talked about are going to carry through to all your writing. Like in some ways, you know, this is a bass line. It's not a melody, but we can still describe it. We can still say it's basically ascending. We're using like adjacent notes. Think about it. Oh, I have perks that I didn't even use. Let's just drop these in really quick. Bring it way down in the mix though and push it to the right. Boom. All right, run that back. Pascal, Friday evening in Belgium. What's up, my friend? Thank you for joining on your Friday evening. Whip that up with some reverb. Be good. And I don't really need that one. That's more of a traditional snare. All right, what did I say? I'm gonna do a melody now or something? Sure. Let's arm this. Let's find something cool. It almost sounds like a saxophone, am I right? This is a Ghost Project preset from the Joji inspired pack. Pretty spacey. Even just by looking at my hands, you can tell me what direction the melody goes. Something like that is fine. I'm just going to add a little bit more space to this. And maybe a little delay. Play from the top. All right, let's try to play something better. I don't know. Ish. So that little scoop up thing, I just do that all the time. I don't know. It's one of my habits. So in general, this is a descending melody, but also got a little emotion here. Melodies can be combined, and that's the kind of last thing we'll talk about today. After I sidechain this. Kick, 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 kick. Nice. Feed that into the delay a little bit. Now, I did say melodies can be combined, so let's combine a second melodic instrument. And the thing that I'm probably going to look for is something that is a little bit different than the melody instrument we're already using, or else your melodies will just end up clashing, and we'll also want to play in a different range. So I'm actually not even going to pick from that pack. I want to pick from a different pack because those sounds are all kind of washy. I want something with a little bit of a harder attack. This sound could be cool with maybe more reverb and a sidechain delay. Play higher. Shave highs off. So what I'm doing here now, and you should think about this in writing your melodies. If you're writing two counter melodies, I don't want to overlap too much. This is a very fast rate melody. It's got those scoop up notes. So for this new melody, I'm going to play slower, longer notes to not clash so much. Then let's take a look what we end up coming up with. That was totally fine. We're going the same direction. We're descending again. But again, just looking at these two melodies right next to each other. I'm gonna quantize real quick. Okay, take a look. This is a much slower melody. This, in contrast, is doing a lot more, but they can coexist. I don't use any of those, Marcos, so sorry I don't have an opinion. So again, we learned a lot about melodies today. I hope that was helpful for you. And we just ended up combining kind of two different melodies in just a very simple approach to combining two melodies at the same time. Just pay attention and make sure they aren't stepping over each other. Put them in different ranges. As you can see, this is starting note B3, and this is down in G2. It's like an octave lower. I like this little groove, actually. Somebody said it's just missing horns. Yeah, we could definitely add horns, but I'm not going to do that today, for sure. If you like this jam, let's throw the mastering chain on it just for fun. Really crunch it up. If you like this stream today, make sure you leave it a like. Make sure you subscribe to the ADSR channel because we are streaming here multiple times a week with all different presenters. I'm here every Friday doing different production concepts as well as on Wednesdays doing the production challenge. So join us for the production challenge. You can join our Discord group. If you're not in the Discord group yet, it's a great little community of home studio or just music producers from around the world. Definitely recommend you join that. Let's not get too crazy and crunchy here. But now it's a lo-fi beat, right? All right. Yeah, join the Discord. Partake in our production challenges every Wednesday. I'll be back here on this channel on Wednesday, as usual, picking 3 winners, giving prizes, and it should be a good time. So, join that. Come hang out on Wednesday. Come hang out with another instructor here on the ADSR channel. And check out my channel, youtube.com/Taetro, Taetro. I don't think you will be disappointed because there's lots of great educational content over there. My beat making videos are pretty cool as well if you just want to chill and vibe to some cool beats that are filmed like outdoors and stuff. And I'll be live on my channel tomorrow doing track reviews, so if you want to become a member over there, it's a good time to do it. That's it for today, my friends. Thanks for hanging out and having a good time making beats, talking about melodies today. For now, I'll see y'all next time. This has been Taetro for ADSR. Have a good one.